Last night, I received guidance to just do a freestyle video with you guys today. And I wanted to share with you some of the things that have been opening up and happening. I know yesterday I shared how things are really shifting and we're each going into our own lanes. And part of what is happening is vulnerabilities, weak spots, places where we weren't embodied or aware, sort of blind spots are being revealed. But this is actually perfect because it gives us the opportunity to embody into those places and spaces, shoring up our own embodiment, especially into the roots, into our connection with the earth, really shoring up the safety and stability and security, which is beautiful because what this does is it actually strengthens that stabilization point and we shore up those survival energies, right? And so once you actually implement the securities and the safety and the stability, it will support your system physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually in the physical world. It allows you to actually move out of the survival modes. And another beautiful part that's coming forward is as we're responsible for shoring up our own security physically, right? For ourselves, that's actually representative of our capacity to also participate in secure connections, like I've been talking about, right? Where we're taking that personal responsibility. And shoring up our physical world safety does not mean we're in survival mode or that we're scared or we're coming from fear. We can have those things present, we can transmute them and simultaneously drop in our standards and our boundaries and our security in a stabilized and safe manner. This actually feels important. And I know it's something that we've been working on, but this is part of actually claiming our sovereignty, being responsible for our own energy on all of the dimensions, on all of the levels, right? So we're really strengthening into that and what's occurring as we're doing that, and we're not doing it from a fear-based mindset, but from a personal, responsible mindset. What it's doing is actually when we take care of the safety and security by being personally responsible, then our stability is stronger. And what this does is it actually provides the space for us to thrive and flourish, right? So think about it. If you have a seedling that you plant in your garden, you may find that you're needing to put up like a fence to keep the animals from eating the seedlings, right? It's not about fear, it's about protecting your garden, right? Protecting your harvest so that the plants can flourish and grow. So, of course, you want to take care of the initial survival, right? We have to address those initial survival needs, but once we take care of them, right, now we can focus on the flourishing and the thriving and the growth, right? So that you can harvest the fruits from the plants because they actually had the capacity to grow past being a sprout or a seedling, right? So the fence was actually an important part of protecting that process. Now, if you still want the deer around and you love them, then you feed them something else outside of the fence, right? I think that those are things we can look at too. It's not necessarily about a fear-based thinking, right? And the deer live here. It's their space as well. This is their planet. So for me, that's something I would do. If I wanted to grow specific things for myself, I would put up that gardening fence and protect those and care for them so that they can thrive and flourish. But I do enjoy the wildlife, so I would also plant other plants or harvest for them to partake and enjoy so that they feel comfortable in my yard and in my garden, right? Same thing with our homes, same thing with our energy, right? When we feel safe within, when we feel safe in our home, our physical body home, our physical world abode, the structure or the building that supports you while you're sleeping, right? We're shoring up all of those things. And no, yes, there's things that are happening in the world, right? But what we can do is focus on our personal responsibility and shoring this up. And it does seem to be a huge topic that's happening because we are moving into the new foundation, but we're still living on this planet where we have varying experiences occurring all around us. So, how we can prepare to be present in all of that, embodied into ourself, is to shore up our own boundaries, set our own intentions, embody into our own lane, right? Taking responsibility for our energy, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, financially, relationally, all environmentally, right? All of those things, we can set our intentions. So that's even another thought. Like in the environment, there is pollution from things that are occurring in the world. But you and we, as our own sovereign individuals, can shore up our air quality in our home, right? We can have like a pesticide free or chemical free home, have air purifiers. Do you see what I'm saying? You can't necessarily control what the whole overarching collective does, but by you being personally responsible for yourself, your home, your environment, your finances, your purpose, your well-being, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, you are then being a sovereign being and taking responsibility for all of the parts that you can actually control. You see what I mean? We can't necessarily control everything that's happening in the world. Well, we can't. We can't. It's not our responsibility to control what other people are doing. But what we can do is refocus that energy into creating the life in the world that we want by starting with ourselves. And you can apply this to every area of your life. I gave you a few really quick, right? Your home security, your environmental security and safety, what foods you put in your body, what quality of air you have in your home, right? What you choose to participate in your relationships or out in the world, what content or news you choose to consume and focus your energy on. There are a lot of things that we can do to shore up where we are focusing and sharing our energy. What are you putting your energy into participating in? Where can you shore that up and refocus your energy back to the things that you actually want to experience in your life, right? So it feels like these retrograde that are the retrogrades that are occurring right now, they sort of have our forward movement slowed down quite significantly, but it's because we are being given the opportunity to drop in and embody deeper and really look at what we're needing to shore up and stabilize and strengthen and expand into so that we are prepared and ready for the next level of higher capacity that is wanting us to hold, right? If you want to expand and experience more in your life, you're going to go through a period of time where you're going through an upgrade and where you're required physically, emotionally, and spiritually to be able to expand your container to prepare for what you are asking for, right? And we know this. We have been presented with this specific scenario over and over and over again. I've talked about it multiple times when we've been shown something that we want, right? Say it's even a loving relationship like the counterpart initiation, right? You're shown the potential of what can be with another. You're also shown the potential of who you are when your higher self is embodied into your physical vessel. This, my loves, is exactly why we have spent so much focus on learning how to embody into our own internal union energies. Regardless of who or what or why or what experiences ultimately come forward and end up landing in your life, all of the experiences that you're having right now are there to support you in becoming and embodying into what it is that you've been asking to receive, what you've been asking to experience in this life. You are becoming the version of you that has the capacity to receive what you deserve. And it doesn't mean that you weren't always that. It's always been there. The thing is that we were suppressed, right? Our ancestors were suppressed. We were rerouted away from our true capacity and abilities and strengths. But we are relearning and opening those. So now we're just learning how to work those muscles and retrieve and restore who we are so that we can shore these things up and sort of set it and forget it. These are not coming up as a punishment. They are not coming up as an attack. They are coming up so that you can shore up your energies. And the people, places, and things that are revealing the vulnerabilities to you may or may not stay in your space. But no matter what is happening, they have been in your space in that moment to support you in that revelation, in that discovery, right? Now you focus on your part, see what needs to get shored up, how you can take care of yourself so that you can thrive and flourish like the plants in the garden with the fence, right? You're also going to fertilize and nourish and water those plants. So it's not just always one thing. There's different steps and stages to that level of responsibility, personal responsibility, right? And it's deciding which types of projects you want to invest in. Where do you want to invest your energy? You start with yourself. You start with your foundation. You start with your own safety, stability, and security so that you can move into thriving in creation, in flow, in trust and reciprocity with yourself and then others, right? Embodying into your own sovereign power, trusting your heart because you know how to care for yourself and protect yourself via your standards because of how you provide and care for yourself, right? How you communicate, how you are honest and truthful within what it is that you're experiencing or needing, knowing when to be silent, knowing when to speak, and understanding that a choice to be silent doesn't mean you're being suppressed. It's a choice, right? Truly mastering our voice and our communication, right? Well, if we've been suppressed in our voice for so long, we may think that we have to kind of puke it out. Well, do it for yourself, right? But the goal really is to find your true tempered energy around knowing when it's appropriate to be still and silent and when it's appropriate to speak and be heard, right? And they're both okay. Choosing to be silent sometimes is the aligned answer, right? Choosing to speak up sometimes is the aligned answer. Really dropping in and understanding that the intuitions you're receiving, even if they don't pan out comfortable or perfect, but you were guided to follow something, that is there because there's something for you to learn and grow from. And also connecting to your higher power, right? Letting yourself receive surrendered support from the higher energies if you don't have clarity on everything just yet. And all of those little things I just said to you are little tidbits from the root chakra up to the crown. You can sit with that and sort of see how they all interweave. And really dropping deeper into those types of parts of yourself and how they all communicate and work together, right? From that safety and stability of the roots to the sovereignty and the surrender of the crown, and all of that information in between, all of those parts of you. Your chakra system is your communication system for yourself, but also how you interpret the energy of the external world, right? That's why we focus on unraveling and clearing and supporting getting those cleaned up, clearing out the old subconscious, stuck, frozen information, or thawing it out so you have access to it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, this is why it's a process. This is why it takes time. This is why you find these random pockets or vulnerabilities or frozen parts or things that you couldn't see because you're ready now to clean those up, retrieve those parts of your essence, clean up the trauma of what doesn't need to be there because you didn't have the skills at that time like you do now. So you're going back in, turning it back on, coming back into that place and taking responsibility and providing that information for yourself now because now you know how to, or you're learning, or you're intending that, right? And it's what I'm here for. It's what I do with myself every single day. And so I just wanted to share this. Obviously, this was what wanted to come through, and it feels important to sit with it, obviously, in your own way. See what resonates, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Make it your own, right? This is the whole entire point. We're each in our sovereign lane. I'm here simply to inspire something, open something, potentially hold space with you and for you to find those blind spots, whether it's here on my Patreon or in a session or in the recorded sessions. It's all really intended and designed to support you in finding your own sovereignty and your own truth. All right, my loves, I'm going to leave it here. I'll put all my information in the pinned comment. I would love to hear from you. Is this some of the information you've been experiencing? How is it presenting for you? If you want to share any of the solutions that you've been working with in the comments, if you want to have conversations with each other, I encourage you to feel comfortable and safe to share and support one another in the comments. All right, my loves, again, hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Much love.